I'm Tom Wright, and this is 60 Seconds CFO Edition. In this session, we're going to be looking at a deep dive into some of the data for the metric. We had a lot of people raising questions and reaching out, wanting to learn more, so I thought it would be prudent to illustrate and walk through the math in this case. Here we'll come to the Excel file. Let me share this. And I'm going to walk you through the math. We have a few simple steps that we're going to take. We're going to enter the data in the orange boxes. Then we're going to do a little bit of math, look at the components of each one of these, and then we're going to review the results. So we start with these orange boxes. We're going to do this analysis on an employee by employee basis. And these employees are the ones that we call billable to clients. So any professional service business, in this case, I'm using engineers as an example. An engineering firm with an employee, we want to certainly track our time for the engineer because we're going to bill it out to clients. Roles that do not bill to clients, such as administrative staff, those are less important. You may or may not choose to keep time records for them, but all of your people that are billing to clients, we definitely want to make sure that we're accurately capturing and tracking time. In this fact pattern, our John Doe is billing out at $350 per hour. They are a full-time employee, so that means by definition here, in this example, they are working a 40-hour work week. And we also have to establish what we call key performance indicators or standards for which the timekeepers must meet from a billable objective. In this fact pattern, it is 27 billable hours per week is the requirement. Now if we shift here to January, let me walk you through the math and tell you what this means. January we had billable time recorded. Remember the orange boxes if you're using this file. The orange boxes are the data points that you're going to enter. All the math is programmed in the rest of the file to compute everything for you. So we're looking at the billable time in January. John had a total of 113.9 hours. He also had a total of 13.2 non-billable hours. So maybe that was company meetings, some training and development, could have been something that we do not bill to clients. The sum of those, or the total, is 127.1 hours. Since this person is a full-time employee, they're working 160 hours per month, and they fell short of recording all of their time. So they recorded 127 out of 160 hours. We'll get to what that means and why it's important to track this. But nonetheless, let's stay focused on the KPI, or the financial benefit for achieving or not achieving the key performance indicator. We have 113 hours that were billable. We have a KPI standard of 108 hours. The differential, those few hours of 5.9 hours, that is the amount of billable hours over the KPI, or in other words, over the 108, 113.9 minus 108, that's the 5.9 hours right here. When we take a look at the 5.9 hours and multiply it by the billing rate of $350, this person generated a positive value of $2,065. So in January, this person exceeded their KPI goal and achieved a greater financial benefit for the business. That is the first component of the analysis, is this red bar, to determine whether or not there's a cost or a benefit for achieving the KPI. During the course of the year, based upon the fact pattern I've mapped out here, this was for an actual engineering firm I was working with, they actually had a loss of $4,235 from KPI achievement. During the course of the year, this person would not probably be eligible for bonusing because they failed to meet the KPI. Let's move on to the next data point. Now we're going to take a look at the impact of not recording all of your time. In this instance, we're supposed to be recording 160 hours a month. We've recorded 127.1. So we are short 32.9 hours in January. We don't know if that should have been billed to a client, or if it was administrative costs, or if it was really paid time off or vacation time. Because the time is not tracked, we have no clue what that is. So this bucket is what I call the financial cost of lost time, because there's no accountability for it. That's the challenge. So we're taking the 32.9 hours and we're simply doing the math to multiply that by the bill rate. That's how much more money is unaccounted for. So that is the second metric in this analysis. The third metric is going to be the total financial loss to the firm. So in this fact pattern, we have $11,515 of cost due to the lost time, and we can offset that by the positive value of the KPI that was super achieved. And the net of those two is a $9,450 loss in the month of January. And as you can see, when we extend these values out throughout the course of the year, and again, this is one fact pattern, yours could be very different, but in this one, it's fairly significant. We're talking about $130,000. That's enough to get most people's attention to try to make improvement in their business. The next thing we are going to look at is the KPI achievement percent. In other words, what percent of our time did we hit the billable target? In January, we had 105%. So we had more billable hours than the KPI, and that's great. Over the course of the year, you could see the amounts varied by month. So some months we were strong, some months we were weak, etc. But these are the components of the KPIs that we're going to focus on. The last component, and maybe we'll build on this in another session, is the hard cost. For example, when we are losing time entries and we are paying people, there is a loss that we can measure as well. We'll reserve that for a deep dive. That concept is a little more complicated. A deep dive into the next meeting. This concludes the fundamental analysis, if you will, of the utilization KPI and the utilization metric. If you have any additional questions or would like to learn more, please reach out. We're always here to help. Have a great day.
If the sun